on to all my movie fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. We are back discussing this new survival thriller starring Idris Elba by the name of Beast, which will be coming to theaters on August 19th. Now, I did get the chance to see this film in theaters early the other night, and I'm gonna let you all know by the end of this review if it's worth checking out in theaters. But before we get into that discussion, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I want to welcome you to the community. If you all enjoy early movie reviews, daily and weekly TV breakdowns, and live streams, will consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell. If you enjoyed today's video, do your boy a favor, give it a thumbs up. Let's put the challenge out there. Let's get this to over 200 plus likes, as well as share this review to anyone and everyone you know that might be interested in seeing this movie. But more importantly, I'm interested in your thoughts on the film. Were you excited for Beast once you've seen the film? Let's talk direction, performances. Were you left on the edge of your seat? Did you care for the family, or were you disappointed by the film? Let's talk about it in the comments. So if you all have seen my out of theater reaction for this film that I put out the other night, I was pretty high on this movie in regards to being positive, but we're going to really dive deep into what worked, what didn't work, and ultimately, is it worth checking out? So let's talk about one of the things that stood out to me, and that is being left on the edge of my seat for this lean, mean, hour-and-a-half thriller film, and that is really highlighted beautifully, in my opinion, by the director of this film, who goes by the name of Baltasar Kormákur, who I have seen some of his other works. I've seen about 2 or 3 of other his movies, and he does his fair share of survival thrillers. And one of the things that he does great at, especially in this movie, and it's highlighted so well, the intense moments. He's able to put you in the position of our characters, especially the way he uses the camera. Like, you feel like you're in the truck when the lion's on top of them, right? I said in my reaction, this has some kind of Jurassic Park vibes where, again, you're feeling claustrophobic. You feel like you can't breathe. You feel like you're like hyperventilating because you feel that intensity. You feel that rush of adrenaline while watching this movie. And also, we'll get into the action and the carnage a little bit later, but I really want to highlight how Baltasar was able to capture the heart and the emotions. I have seen my fair share of survival thrillers, and sometimes, unfortunately, I find myself watching some of these, genre films, and like, I don't care if they live or die, whether it's a singular character or a family. It's just like, I don't care. But in this film, it's the opposite. I cared for Idris Elba, which we'll talk about him and his daughters and Martin. There were characters I was rooting for, and again, I really want to applaud the direction in this movie, but I also want to talk about the performances, and I want to start off by talking about an actor who I don't think gets enough credit, man. He's always just a hidden gem. He's a great actor. I'm talking about Sharlto Copley, who you all might know from District 9, and he's great in that movie. He's great in everything I've seen him in. Now, with that said, his films aren't always the greatest, because he does, find himself in different genre films, sci-fi, horror, and whatnot, but I always just love seeing him in films because I think he's just such an underrated actor. He plays our character by the name of Martin in this film, who is very close to Idris Elba. He's the uncle of the young girls in this film, and he's the expert. He's the one that's going to take us on a safari trip, and he's very believable in the role. He's just charismatic. I just love his screen presence, and I thought that he was just a nice addition to this really well-rounded cast. But also, I want to highlight the 2 young ladies in this film, Iyana Halley and Leah Jeffries, who plays the young girls, the daughters of Idris Elba. And listen, when you see kids and teenagers in these films, they tend to be the most annoying parts of these movies. And there are some moments, especially Mar, the older daughter, where I'm like, listen, this girl needs to sit a time out. She is kind of getting out of control. But again, these are teenagers. We've all been teenagers. We are very rebellious sometimes to our parents, even when our life's on the line, especially when you got a lion chasing you. But nonetheless, I thought these young ladies did a great job. They captured fear. They captured bravery. They not only were trying to keep themselves and their family protected, but they also were looking out for their dad and also Uncle Martin. So I thought those young ladies, both of them, were fantastic and did a great job. But speaking of fantastic, let's talk about the Black Superman, baby. Idris Elba, who is doing his thing in this film. Listen, y'all, like I said, he is the Black Superman. My man went toe-to-toe with a lion in this film. That's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer, and I won't give too much away about that element. But, man, Idris Elba, every time I see this man, he is just believable in his role. Like, he is the father. He is the doctor in this film. He is the one trying to keep his family together. And I really enjoyed, we'll talk about the action, but just the narrative for the character and the character development. A father who the family, and this is in the trailer as well, they've recently suffered a loss. They're going on this trip to not only pay homage and pay respects to the person they lost, to go into Africa, but also trying to get this family back intact, right? And I just love the dad dad being a father in this film and trying to regain the trust of his daughters, but also trying to keep himself and his family and his best friend Martin safe from this lion who we'll talk about here in a second. But I thought this, if you're a fan of Idris Elba like I am, he's fantastic in this role. But let's talk about the lion, y'all. We just got done talking about Prey the other week, and I would love to see this lion versus the Predator in a spinoff some way, somehow. No, I'm joking. Not really. I would love to see that, actually. This lion in this film, as they describe when you see the movie, it's out for blood. Now, I compared this film in my out-of-theater reaction to Jaws and Jurassic Park, and it is an homage to those films, but if you all have seen, I think it was Jaws 3, when the shark was like going after that family and going off of that bloodline based on what happened in the original Jaws, this lion in this film, as I said, was kind of Scar on cocaine. Listen, y'all, this lion was one of the most villainous characters I've seen, or I should say, characters in the film that I've seen this year. This lion was no joke. This lion was out for blood. It was vicious. It was almost kind of like Michael Myers. Like, how's this big-ass lion sneaking around, taking people out one by one? It has some slasher vibes at points. So if you're a horror fan, this film has some really good thrilling elements. But again, this lion is menacing. But also, I want to applaud the visual effects team. Now, this isn't Caesar from Planet of the Apes type of visual effects, but it's some really clean shots. Like, it was very realistic. Obviously, it wasn't practical, but the visual effects were really clean. But also, I want to go back, harken back to my thriller horror fans. I said in my reaction, this was PG-13. I was incorrect. This is R, and I'm like, oh, that makes more sense because there are some bloody scenes in this movie. There is some heads that might not be on people's shoulders. There's some blood, some scratches. This film gets intense. So again, edge of your seat, intensity, carnage, claustrophobic. It has all those elements that you want to see in this type of genre. But it's not perfect, y'all. I will say there were some logical moments where I'm like, listen, and the film acknowledges that this lion ain't like no other lion, but I'm like, come on now. This lion is doing a little bit more. There's a little extra lion here. And also, the elements that they found themselves in. They were in the safari. They're in the middle of Africa, where there are more than just lions. There are other animals that I found to be, and the film kind of hints at it like the lion is the alpha, so other animals probably wouldn't be around, but I wish that there were more elements of their environment that were more, dangerous than just a lion. And there are some actors and some humans that become a bit of an issue, but I wish the elements were used more in this film. But also, the film has moments where there are conversations that I thought were completely out of left field in regards to kind of forcing the drama, kind of forcing the issue. Again, the family has recently lost someone, and there is some tension between the family, and I found the tension being brought up in moments where I'm like, y'all got a line of word about, not a conversation about what this character shouldn't have did and didn't do and all that stuff. So little small minute things. Again, the film it knows what it is, it gets to the point, and I found myself very entertained. So with all that being said, should you see Beast in theaters? I think so. I think it's worth it because it's one of those end of the summer hidden gems, leaves you on the edge of my seat. At least I was on the edge of my seat, and I saw my audience. People were really engaged in this film, and I think it goes into the direction, the writing. It's a simple story. It gets to the point, and I had a good time. With that being said, I'm going to give Beast, and listen, when I'm going to give it this score, I went in with very low expectations, and I walked out very happy. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Take it as you will. You might not like it. You might not be in this type of genre, but I think for the most part, people are going to enjoy this film. I certainly did, and I'm giving it a 4 out of 5, like I said. So, hey, that's my thoughts, pros, cons, and everything in between. Let me know when you all seen the film, how you felt about it. Did it work? Did it not work? Let's have those discussions in the comments. I appreciate you all for clicking on this video, watching it up to this point. Before you all leave, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share it, leave your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Keep an eye out for some content we got going. She-Hulk, House of the Dragons, Mike Tyson new series. We got a John Boyega film I'll be talking about in a few days. And of course, I do a lot of shorts talking about movie news, TV news, and so much more. You all have been awesome. Click this button and join the community. Check out my most recent reviews, and we'll catch you all on the next breakdown.